So I'm starting the recording. We have less participation in the class today, but that's a choice each one of us had, and I understand this being a holiday, some students might find it difficult to join. But yeah, let's move to the class then. So the first thing that was asked was that how do we understand these noise margins with respect to the the characteristic curve over here?
Yes,
So
sir. This one. Yes, sir.
yeah, so what are the questions around this?
Sir, the relation of I asked in the TA session also this thing, and sir quite give me the answer as well. But I want to
Mm-hmm.
just know this about the slopes. Okay, the slopes, negative slope, the negative one slope. I have read this as well, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
just plot this NMH and NML in this graph. If sir, if you increase NMOS width, if you decrease PMOS width like that, what will happen
Mm-hmm.
to our noise margin part? Like that, I have to ask.
Okay, you tell me what happens. Suppose in this case, I increase the width of my NMOS. Okay, this is how my curve would look like. So what would happen?
Means it is approaching towards the zero, means not VDD, it is going towards the zero. That means uh, our N means that our lower NML will increase and NMH will decrease.
So अभी आपने क्या करा? अभी आपने जो ही NMOS को strong करा, as soon as you made the NMOS stronger, what did you do? Your output margin did not really change much. Output high margin. But what has changed? Input low margin. Now, what this means is that even a small glitch, so what have you done? So the initial graph that we saw, it had a very high input low margin and a relatively lower input high margin. So what that meant was that in the input side, if there was a glitch like this, that glitch will not go to the output. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now, since you made the NMOS stronger, what happened? The curve, uh, since you made the NMOS stronger, the curve shifted to the left side. So your IVIL got shifted here. It has reduced from the earlier value to this value.
Yes, sir.
So what happens? Now, let us say this is the new value. Now, when this glitch comes, you can expect the output to start to go high. So the
Uh,
output to start to go low below this range now. So
सर
जब
ये
तक
चीज
आपकी
समझ
glitch
नहीं
इससे
आई थोड़ा
छोटी
सा.
है, so till the time your input glitch is lesser than say this noise margin, your output will be within this. As soon as this glitch goes above this, your output will start to come below this. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is what change in beta ratio would do to the noise margins, low noise margin and high noise margin.
Sir, one more basic doubt that this beta P and beta N can be written as KP and KN, that nu and COX W by L.
Yes, you can do that, but it, it's actually almost that with W also involved in there. So beta P is K into W and beta N is Kn into Wn. Kn is a mix of mobility and other stress effects, and width talks about the current strength, about the width, and therefore the strength of the device. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. So now we come to the question that Swapnil had asked. Swapnil had asked ki, how do using fingers, how do making devices in fingers impact the performance? So you've already done this thing in the quiz. What do you think is the answer? What happens? The quiz was a very guided step-by-step thing where you could actually do it very easily. Is it not? If I ask you to now deduce something from whatever you did in the quiz, what do you understand now? Hello?
Yes, sir. What I thought was that if we do the fingering part, that the parasitic element will increase, due to which we can say that the delay in the layout will increase, and hence the performance in that case, in particular, that example will not increase. That I thought. Maybe I'm wrong or right. I don't know.
So what did you finally, when you solved that question, what did you find out? You thought that initially, but after you solved that question, what did you find out?
So I got less capacitance value.
I also
Okay.
got less capacitance.
Less capacitance for which part? So if I call the regions as A, B, A, and C, D. So we called it differently there in the quiz. But if I call it like this, so which region has lesser capacitance and which has more capacitance?
सर बी का कम कैपेसिटेंस आया था, मैंने पेपर में गलती कर दी, पर है ना कम आएगा सर, मैंने बाद में कैलकुलेट किया था.
Okay.
और yes sir.
So if I look at these values, then capacitance of C is equal to capacitance of D. इतना आप देख पा रहे हैं?
Yes sir.
And then capacitance of A is greater than capacitance of B. ये भी आपको क्लियर है?
Yes sir.
And एक्चुअल में आपको ये भी दिख रहा होगा कि capacitance of B is less than capacitance of C or D, and that capacitance of A is greater than capacitance of C or D. These relationships you must have been able to make out in that quiz.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what does this mean? If the capacitances are moving like this, where would you connect your output if you want the output to come fast? A, B, C, D में से आप कहाँ पे अपने आउटपुट को कनेक्ट करना चाहोगे?
So B.
तो जहाँ भी कैपेसिटेंस कम होगी.
The B part. B part.
B part. So if you now say that your output is here, and this is your power supply, ठीक है? Then what happens? Output capacitance reduces. The out की capacitance reduces, and power supply की capacitance increases. So what does increase in supply capacitance do? So output को आपने कह दिया fast हो गया. Supply capacitance बढ़ने से क्या होगा? Is it beneficial or harmful?
सर सप्लाई कैपेसिटेंस बढ़ने से डिलेज बढ़ने चाहिए क्योंकि ज़्यादा टाइम लगेगा डिस्चार्ज और चार्ज होने में. आई थिंक
आप सप्लाई की कैपेसिटेंस को जब बढ़ाओगे तो आपके डिलेज बढ़ने चाहिए. आप किस चीज को डिस्चार्ज या चार्ज करते हो?
जो लोड होता है.
तो सप्लाई लोड तो नहीं है. सप्लाई इज नॉट द लोड.
बट लाइक
द लोड इज वी आउट. द लोड इज वी आउट. वी आउट पे सिंस यू हैव कनेक्टेड वी आउट टू बी, द कैपेसिटेंस हैज ओनली रिड्यूस्ड.
So longer would be the time for which the power supply is going to be given, because the capacitance at the power supply end is increasing, so the delays would be increasing there.
Which delays would be increasing?
So in the A region, the delays are going to be increased because capacitance is increasing.
So A region की बात नहीं हो रही. I give an input,
dynamic power consumption will be increasing,
and I get an output. So which यहाँ पे we talked about delays. So we will talk about delays more today. So that was why I thought this topic would come up later. So let us say TD.
I guess the rise delay will increase instead of the fall delay, because fall अगर आप power supply, because like fall होने में उतना time लगेगा, but capacitor getting charged will take more time.
Which capacitor getting charged? V out.
हाँ.
But V out की capacitance तो you reduce ना?
So but
I think full VDD नहीं मिलेगा. कुछ
VDD नहीं मिलेगा. VDD तो बड़ा कर दिया आपने. VDD तो और strong मिल रहा है अब.
सर आई डोंट थिंक सो कुछ फर्क पड़ना चाहिए एज लॉन्ग एज मैं इनपुट को मेंटेन रख सकूं. इट डजंट मैटर बिकॉज ठीक है VDD एंड जो बेसिकली जो कैपेसिटर आ रहा है वो मेरा VDD टू इनपुट के बीच में आ रहा है ना. इफ आई कैन मेंटेन माय इनपुट देन इट्स फाइन. आई डोंट केयर.
Yeah, capacitor is coming not just in VDD and input. Capacitor is coming between VDD and ground also.
तो
VDD
लाइक
and bulb
अच्छा वो
also.
सीरीज के थ्रू करके आप कह रहे हो कि एक ऊपर एक नीचे करके इस तरीके से.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that in this circuit, let me show you a different screen. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yeah, it's visible.
So what I'm saying is that if this is a inverter, V in, V out, there was a C out on this, and obviously this has a capacitance. This is VDD. This ground has a capacitance. I know. So
Yeah.
there is capacitance to the substrate. There is capacitance to so many things. There is some capacitance here also. So what did you do now? For the V in part, you had a, wait, let me draw it in the right colors for you. You had the active and you said, okay, 1 poly, 2 poly, and this thing. Whereas initially what you had was, and only 1 poly. Am I right? So what happened? आपका जो total poly area है, so this is W by 2, this is X, this is X, and this is LX मान लेते हैं. So your total poly length has increased to W plus 4EXT plus LEXT from the initial value of W plus 2EXT. Are you with me? The total poly length has increased like this.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I also look at contacts, let us say I put one contact here, one contact here, one contact here. Now, since this was a larger width, I put 2 contacts there, 2 contacts there. Okay. In that terms, my poly to contact capacitance has was 4x earlier, and now it is 3x. Am I right?
Yes.
So plus in this case it is 3x. In this case it is 4x. So I see that there are some aspects due to which the poly capacitance is increasing. There are others due to which poly capacitance is reducing. Poly is where my input will come. Am I right? So my input capacitance may remain almost the same. Might increase a little bit, might reduce a little bit, but you can say it may remain almost the same. Are you with me?
So why are we saying it the same? Like हमारे पास poly का length का capacitance is different है ना? So
yeah. So there are two components of the poly capacitance. No? There is a poly capacitance due to poly and you may say substrate and poly and ground, which will depend on the length part of it. And then there is this capacitance between poly and the contacts.
Okay, yes, true.
So that component is reducing. Am I right? That component is reducing, na? Poly to contact capacitance is reducing a bit. So overall input capacitance may remain similar. थोड़ा सा बढ़ गया, थोड़ा सा कम हो गया, we do not know. A little higher, a little lower. So are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So input capacitance has not really changed much. Let us say it like this. Now what happens to the output capacitance? Output capacitance, we just said that this was CD, this was A, B, A. We said B is lower than C, D, and A all. Am I right? So output capacitance you have actually reduced. Are you with me? Hello?
Because you are connecting output to the B part, so you are saying that the we can say like that the capacitance of output has been less than if we compare to A, C, and D, right?
Yeah. So it's not just we can say, it is there, is it not?
So
Am I only saying, or do you think that since you calculated it in the quiz also, like how do you know that B's capacitance is lesser, or you still think I'm just saying this?
no, sir, we calculated it.
It
but
was coming less.
So this would heavily depend on the length of that B का also, right? और जो LO दे रखा था quiz में. That is a major dependence. Like अगर वो हमने बढ़ा दिया तो again capacitance बढ़ गया. वो तो quiz में ऐसा हमको मॉडल करके दे रखा था.
No, so the quiz was very realistic. We used numbers from the technology that you have, or kind of numbers that you will typically have in any technology.
Okay.
You will never find questions in my quizzes to be such that they will lead you to wrong deductions. Okay.
Okay, sir.
I do not make hypothetical questions for you guys. Whatever questions I make, the intent is so that you guys enhance your learning. You understand the subject matter better. That is my intent. I do not want to confuse you just by giving any random numbers there. But yes, you are right. You are right in the sense that if you really make this very, very large, then you're also wasting area. Then I don't know why would you want to do that. But if you do that, yes, in some case, you will start to see higher capacitances. But what we did in the quiz was very realistic.
So,
yes, Garvit.
So in the above figure, the contact in the region B will have two capacitances, right? With both like polys on either side. So like, shouldn't it be 4x there also?
Shouldn't it be
4x when we are writing the capacitances? Like we have 3x there, no?
If you're right, we can probably call it 4x. I did it wrong. So what then we conclude is that the poly capacitance would slightly increase. The input capacitance would slightly increase, but output capacitance would reduce.
But sir, W/2 हो जाएगा ना इधर शायद.
क्या W/2 हो जाएगा?
Yeah.
So
fingering
the capacitance over here is you can estimate it by the lines of forces. So lines of forces, so you would space the capacitors such that they do not cancel each other's capacitance. Let us put it like that. So in that sense, you would have same number of lines of forces coming to both sides. Okay, so it will not be W/2. You can actually say that the capacitance is for B, the contact to poly capacitance remains same. That you can assume. Garut pointed it right.
So not that W/2, like the main diffusion capacitance. So upper, like you have written W plus 4ext, that should be W/2 plus 4ext.
No,
Yes,
no, this is not diffusion. We are looking at the poly capacitance. Be careful. This is about poly capacitance.
Okay.
This is the input. We are looking at the input here. So input is W/2 here, W/2 here. Okay. Then 4 extensions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 Lx. So for the poly, the capacitance has slightly increased. How much has it increased? 2xt plus Lx. Now the thing is that this capacitance is with the substrate and through a very thick low cost or very thick. So this is on SiO. So if your device is like this, let us say, over here you have a very thin gate oxide. So this is your gate capacitance. But in the regions where you do not have a device, you have SiO2, a very thick SiO2. So if a poly is running over it, then that poly will not really see that kind of a capacitance. This capacitance is much lesser because this is one terminal and this is the second terminal. So this capacitance is much lesser than what you see in the gate. So in this formula, W is the primary governing capacitance. This would be 95% of the share anyways. Oh, 5% jo bacha, the remaining 5% value, that has increased a bit. So, okay, some increase, but little increase only, not too much. Are you able to see this? See, the capacitance is dependent on the dielectric width, dielectric thickness. For the poly that runs in this region or in this region, the dielectric thickness is huge. SiO2 is a very, very thick layer there. These are called shallow trench implants. So the capacitance that has increased due to extra run length on STI, that is not much. So you can still assume it to be similar. Okay. Coming back to the output capacitance has reduced or not?
It has.
Yes,
Sir.
sir.
So input capacitance also almost remained same. Okay, 1-2% increase ho gaya. Output capacitance has definitely reduced to almost like 50 to 60% of the original value. So what do you expect? The output to transition faster or slower?
Faster, sir.
Faster. Now we are also saying that the capacitance of VDD has increased and the capacitance of GND has increased. So what does that do? Are you making any transitions on VDD or GND?
No.
If you're not making any transitions on VDD and GND, then increasing their capacitance has no harmful effect on you, on your inverter delays. At least inverter delays are not dependent on what is the capacitance of VDD and GND. Because through the inverter action, you're not changing VDD or GND levels, are you?
So
yes.
So by what means we were we just assumed that कि supply और ground का VD बढ़ा दिया हमने और capacitor बढ़ा दिया या फिर कुछ हमने reason बोला था सर अभी?
No, we saw that if we are connecting supply to a region, if we connect, see, you've connected output to this place, you connected output to this place, so the VDD and ground you will connect to this place only.
A का C या D से बड़ा था, okay.
Yeah, A's capacitance is more than C and D also, so supply capacitance has increased. Okay, so increase in supply capacitance, do you think that will change your output delays? Are you toggling VDD and ground?
No, sir.
So if you're not toggling VDD and ground, will the delays change?
Yes, sir. It wouldn't matter, sir. Yes, sir. It won't change.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter for the inverter delays. But then,
Exactly.
would you want supply capacitances to be more or less?
So I guess it should be less. Otherwise, you would expect more static dissipation of power, maybe.
So maybe I want more to just absorb a glitch here and there in the supply voltage, so that I don't have to put external capacitors.
See, Swapnil, we are not even targeting to toggle VDD and GND. So what are we talking about extra power? You just when you power up the switch, you bring it up once, then you have kept it powered up for hours together. The extra few micro coulombs that you might have put on your capacitor there doesn't matter. Okay, because it is amortized over a long period of duration for which the supply is on. So if you're not switching the supplies, there is no power consumption linked to supply capacitance. However, if the supply capacitance is more, a very, very big and very important benefit is that if there is some glitch, some noise that is coming, some surge of current that needs to be drawn, even then this large VDD capacitance or large supply capacitance will be able to provide that extra current. So the glitches, the noise on the supply would reduce. So a large supply capacitance is always beneficial to reduce supply noise and to reduce glitches and to be able to offer more current when needed. When due to some resistance, current could not come from the supply, your capacitor will offer that. So your supply could be somewhere far away, and there would be some resistance in this. But so what happens? You wanted more current immediately. This resistance will not allow that current to come to you quickly. So the local capacitance would offer that charge, additional charge that was required by the transistor. Now, since this is a larger capacitor, even if you give more charge, the variation in my supply level over here will be small only. It will be a very small noise. If this was a small capacitor and you wanted to draw a lot of current out of it, lot of charge out of it, I would have larger glitches on my noise, on my supply. So supply noise would increase. So if my supply capacitance is higher, my supply noise goes lower. It is always good. Okay. Unless you are intent on switching supplies very frequently, which is rarely done. Supplies are not switched very frequently. Are you with me?
Yes,
Any
sir.
questions now? So, should we move ahead? Silence means yes. Should I assume that?
So the overall result of the performance, what should we say finally?
You tell me.
That we can say that after fingering that our performance increases, as you said that as we seen that capacitance has been decreased, output capacitance if we see, and sir, if we talk about the power
So,
dissipation,
Munun, can you always say that the performance improved? For example, if you instead connect output to the node A, what would happen?
It would actually have resulted in more delays because of larger capacitance.
Yeah. So it is not about fingering would, splitting a device into fingers would lead to better performance or not. It is how you design the layout that has a very strong influence on performance. Okay.
Okay, sir.
The only thing that fingers बना दिया तो performance बढ़ जाएगा, that is not a straightforward deduction. It requires intelligence beyond just making it into fingers. That was what the question was about.
हाँ सर, अब समझ में आया कि ये पूछा गया था कि आप कहाँ पे लगाओगे आउटपुट जिससे आपकी परफॉर्मेंस एनहेंस हो जाए, तो बी पे लगाएंगे, उधर कैपेसिटर कम है इसलिए.
Yes. Okay.
Sir?
Yes, Setu?
Sir, so since there is no apparent downside to fingering, let's just keep on fingering. And so what stops me from making fingers and fingers and fingers and having a very, very small width transistor but having a lots of fingers?
Area.
Is there something which area? Okay.
Area.
But
Look at it like
wasn't
this.
fingering? Yeah.
So I had a NVEL. So when we looked at the layout scheme, I had an NVEL and I wanted to make a device here. That was my sorry. So this was my inverter that I had thought of. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now suppose you say just because by using fingers I can get to higher performance, instead of this inverter, you made the width half at both the sides and you connected it like this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is the same inverter. You say, okay, my output is here. This is my output. This is also what you say. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Now what has happened? For this particular cell, the first cell, you could close the cell here and your overall PR boundary, let me change this. Yeah, so overall PR boundary would look something like this. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
That is to say that you can abut another inverter right here next to it. Okay? In this case, your PR boundary would look something like this. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Which one has more area?
So the second one, but again the height is also less, right? So
no, height is standard cell remains same. Height doesn't change.
so like sure. Then so definitely fingering would take more area, but let's say that I don't need that wide of.
Do not do. Let us say that you've already decided the number of tracks before you start to design a library.
So let's say I'm proposing a new type of library. So you give me a 7T library, and I say okay, I will make a 3.5T library.
So then you never had a choice, na Setu? Then you never had a choice. For a 7-track library, you could not have made this device in one finger anyways.
Yeah.
Do you see this? For a 7-track library, you could not even have made this device in one finger. So we're not even comparing apple to apple.
Okay.
A design decision is important when you have a choice. If there is no choice, what design decision you have to make? You anyways have to do what is right.
So like I was thinking along the lines that if you give me some parameters for my inverter to fit, then I will have to use either 7T library or 3.5T library, but with fingering.
No.
That was the choice I was making.
No. You always decide. So you will always be given a number of tracks library in the beginning, even before you start making your layouts.
Okay.
That is the first thing that you will confirm. Okay. That is the first thing that you will confirm, and it is only then that you will do sizing of your inverters or making of your layouts.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So.
Yes.
So when we were doing fingering, then we reduced the width. So it also reduced our drain current. So does this have any significant impact on performance?
So आपने width कहाँ reduce करी Garvit? आपने एक width ये बनाई. So you said W by 2 here and W by 2 here. These two transistors are parallel with each other. So this W by 2, this is W by 2, and their source, drain, and gate are all connected. So the effective width is actually W again. Where has the width reduced?
Okay, sir.
Instead of one transistor, you have two transistors in parallel now. That's it. Yeah. That's all that you've done. Effective width has remained same.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Should we move forward?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, sir. May I ask one basic question?
Yeah.
Sir, could you comment upon the power dissipation? Means you will talk about the static power dissipation or dynamic power dissipation if you do the fingering part.
So what do you think we should talk about?
I think dynamic power dissipation, we will talk about that.
Okay. So what will happen to the dynamic power if you connect output to B? Will it reduce or increase?
Since our capacitance has been decreased, so our power will decrease, power dissipation.
Yes.
I'm right, sir?
So you have that. Yeah, you have the answer.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Okay. Now we come to what we call as a transient response. So we're already discussing transient response. Some delays ki baat kar hi rahe hain. So I don't think it will take us long to cover this topic. But yeah, we come to transient response. And what we are looking at is that suppose I give a step response to the input. Then I want to find out, what kind of current is flowing, what is my delay. That is what my desire is. Am I right? तो अभी तक हमने जो बात करा, delay बढ़ रहा है, कम हो रहा है. We have already discussed all this so many times in the course. This is just formally giving you some equations. So, am I right if I say that when before the input comes, the current through the NMOS is 0? In this part, the current through the NMOS is 0. Can I say that? Except leakage. So on current is 0. Can I assume that?
Yes, sir.
Then in the intermediate region, I'm in saturation. So I have the saturation current equation coming there. That is also fine. And then we have the linear region equation coming there. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So in effect, as my input rises, my output falls, and I give some delay definitions there, which you've already done. The rise delay, the fall delay, the rise time, and the fall time. This you've already done in your assignment also, so I assume there are no questions around this. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, in addition to these standard delays, there is also something which is called as contamination delay. What do you understand by contamination delay? Any ideas?
So delays which depend on input as well.
I'm sorry?
Delays which depend on input as well.
Input as well, okay.
Sir, the delay is due to the capacitance which has been created between gate and drain terminal of our NMOS PMOS.
No, this will not come from what I have taught you till now. So don't search in that library. This is something which you may have studied otherwise in another course earlier, and I'm sure you have studied this.
Sir, I mean, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think I studied it like we consider two cases for like the best case scenario when we consider delay, and another is, I mean, the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. And the best case scenario case, we considered it as contamination delay, and the name contamination is used because when the same delay we are considering for the other, when we transferring the output to other gates. So in case of sequential circuits, it may violate that setup and hold condition, so that's why this contamination name is.
So yeah, you're almost there. So let us assume we have a NAND gate. So till now you're looking at an inverter. So inverter, so that was where I said that what I have already discussed, usse aap nahi nikal paoge. Let us consider a NAND gate. So NAND gate has two inputs. So just considering a 2-input NAND gate for simplicity here. There are many complex AOIs, and when you will do your projects, you have to consider the same delays for your AOIs also. Now consider that in a scenario, both A and B were 1, initially 1. A and B were initially 1, and B goes to 0. Since B goes to 0, this connection is off and current starts to flow from here, and it charges my load capacitor. So what will I get? I will get my delay from B to C, B to Y. Am I right? Similarly, if instead of B, A had gone to 0, I would have gotten my delay from A to Y. This would be my propagation delay. Consider a case where both A and B simultaneously toggle to 0. Now what happens? Now, instead of just one transistor, two transistors are working to charge the load capacitance. The load capacitance will get charged much faster. What does this mean? That my delay will be lesser than the propagation delay. This is called as contamination delay. यहाँ तक clear है? Is it clear till here? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now, why is this contamination delay called a contamination delay? Why is it important in the first place? Any ideas? So itna ho gaya ki there are two kinds of delays that can happen in a gate, and the slowest one you call propagation delay, the fastest one you call the contamination delay.
So I guess contamination delay would be something I guess unexpectedly like happening like in a way, because like you are modeling your design, your WNL, everything based on your keeping in mind your propagation delay and your rise time, fall time. But now suddenly, if the both inputs go together to 0, this would be something an unexpected behavior, I guess. So that is something I feel is contaminant.
Okay. Yeah. So why is the name see propagation delay, the name propagation, you understand that input कुछ आया उसको आपने y पे propagate करा. Why is this called contamination delay? Because if you understand the name, why it is called this, you will understand where it is important. Otherwise, I will tell you where it is important, and then you can obviously make out why this is called contamination delay.
Sir, yeah,
Yes.
maybe it is like one input is getting contaminated due to other input suddenly changing together with it. So,
So we will talk about that thing also, but that we will talk about in fast transistor combinational logic. Let me tell you. So you've heard about pipelines or sequential machines, where you see
Yes,
that
sir.
you have a pair of flip-flops and in between there is a combinational logic. A clock comes. You've seen all this kind of thing sometime earlier? Anyone who has not seen? Okay, so silence means yes, all of you have seen. So now imagine that this clock had some delay D, and this combinational logic had a delay capital D. So what happens? You gave a clock to the first flop. The earlier output was settled here. So when the clock comes over here, it would latch its earlier output, earlier input, and when the clock reaches after delay D to this place, it latches the earlier output of this combinational logic. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, you had designed it in such a way that this D always was greater than smaller d. Okay? But there are cases where, for example, both switchings happen simultaneously and so on and so on. And this D reduces to D minus. Okay? There could be a case where this D minus is less than D. Then what would happen? If this D minus is less than D, then whatever you launched at the rising edge of clock over here will reach the next flop even before the next flop had utilized the earlier output. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So what has this done? This has contaminated my previous cycle's output by pushing out the new output much faster. Are you with me?
Sir, is this really relevant in this particular example, because it's a flip flop, right? So even if it pushes the output first, as long as my clock is not there, clock edge is not there yet, it won't matter, right?
No, it matters, no? आपकी एक pipeline थी. Suppose I was to take attendance of 10 students.
Yeah.
First student, I was speaking out names. And I give out. So this is a clock edge, you may say. I spoke the name. The student said yes. I spoke the next name. The student said yes. I spoke the next name. The student said yes. I spoke the next name. The yes of the student had not arrived, and I moved to the next. So what happens? Or the student had arrived, but the next student also, even before his name has come, had shouted yes.
Okay, I get it. So the first flip flop will spit out its second value before the second flip flop has latched onto the first value.
First value, yes. So the first value for the first output has got lost.
Okay.
It was not latched anywhere. Pipeline could not act on it at all. So
may I conclude one thing, sir, from this? Sir, if the clock is not reached to our second flip flop, that means that our second flip flop is off, means it is not working, right? So the
it is
output
waiting.
of the first
It
flop,
is waiting. It is
yeah.
wait. It is waiting. It is waiting for a clock edge. It is not that it is not working. It is waiting for a clock edge.
So sir, as soon as he will get the it will get the clock edge, then it will take the output of the first flip flop, right, as the input.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
it will take.
the case,
Whenever the clock edge comes, it will take the output of this combinational logic as its input. Whenever the clock edge comes, it will take the output of this combinational logic QC as its input. This is QF, let us say. QF gets modified and comes as QC to the next flop. Okay?
Clear, sir, clear.
Sir,
so there was a QC0. There was a QC0. Even before you could latch it, QF1 led to a QC1, and now you cannot even latch QC0 because your D is greater than capital D minus.
Sir, what is the reason that the D got less and turned to D minus?
Yeah, same reason, because you had designed for propagation delay, which was capital D, but over here both the inputs toggled simultaneously. So you had a contamination delay in picture. Okay. So contamination delays are important when you have to consider hold times. We'll come to this towards a much later part of the course. But when you have to consider hold times, so this is a hold failure. The QC0 could not be held until the clock came. And the propagation delays are important when you talk of what is called as setup times of your flip-flops. So again, I know that you have studied hold times and setup times, but I'm connecting it with this contamination delay over here and propagation delay. Okay? You're with me?
Yes,
yes, sir.
Okay. So let's move forward. Now we look at some delay models, some quick ones. See, there are very simple approaches to identify delays. So for example, if you want to find the delay of TPHL, you would say my load capacitance has to discharge by VDD by 2. That is when I will say my output has already toggled to 0. And I will divide that by average current that this NMOS would take through. So this is a very simplistic model. Our designs are much more complex than this, but it's good to understand. Jahan tak samajh mein aa raha hai? Is this simple model clear to you? Any questions on this?
So can you please explain again this one?
So I want you to explain. What do you see in this slide?
So as my switch is off, the capacitor would charge via IAV or discharge via IAV. So, and what I'm measuring is the delay for this, for the output to change, right?
Yes. So what is it that you are saying? I want to discharge this kind of charge from the capacitor. CL into V is my charge Q.
Yeah.
Q by I will give me time. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So that is what we have done.
Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, okay. Now I got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now we go to a slightly more complex model. We say instead of this being a current source, in reality, the MOSFET is a resistance. Okay, there is some on resistance of a MOSFET. So when you look at that as a resistance, on resistance of a MOSFET, because we know that MOSFET is not really just a current source, there is some resistance there. So then you say that my delay is 0.69 R on into CL. Again, am I right? Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
So then we say that, okay, if I model it through this kind of a more accurate R-on kind of a thing, then my TPLH and TPHL will be represented by equivalent resistance of the NMOS and the equivalent resistance of the PMOS, and my average delay would look something like this. Are you with me? Hello? Friends, you have to respond, otherwise
Yes,
I
sir.
will keep on waiting. I will keep on waiting because I do not want to move until you have understood the basic concepts.
Sir, please can you repeat this concept like this?
Yeah. So what did you understand?
I'm understanding like जो R equivalent और REQN और REQP ये TPLH और TPHL के correspond है.
Yeah.
Like जो
And you've taken an average to get the propagation delay. So you looked at the propagation delay of high to low and low to high, and then you average them.
Okay, sir.
And then what we are saying is that this R equivalent is not too difficult to find. You can use the equation of IDSAT in the linear region or something like that. The saturation region le lo, jo bhi lena hai le lo. You can use that equation and you can very easily find out what the R equivalent is. Okay, and you can get to some number. I'm not entering into all this but yeah, you know how R equivalent can be found out, and that you can do. Okay. So to make your circuits faster, you want to keep the capacitances
Hello,
small.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you move to the previous slide, sir?
Yes.
Sir, in the output graph, we have some rise, right? From 2.5 to 3. Why it happened, sir?
You tell me.
Sir, I don't have an idea.
So what do you think? Why do you think it would happen?
Maybe because of some extra charge.
Okay, so
due to the capacitance CGD.
Okay, so extra charge will come from somewhere, na? Why this extra charge? And it is not just that upar jate hue this is high. Over here it is low. Why? So someone said capacitance.
Yes, sir. Due to the capacitance CGD, the gate to drain capacitance, which had in PMOS and NMOS.
Yeah. See, you're toggling something on the gate. You toggled something on the gate. There is a coupling capacitance with the source and the drain. The source is supply, let us say. Supply will not change. But the drain is not supply. Drain has a limited CL on it. So that CL gives in some more current. So there is this overshoot and there is this undershoot. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So if you want to design your devices faster, we've already discussed at length that we have to keep the capacitances small. If we increase the width, we would increase the current. But we also know that if we increase the width too much, then the self-loading, that is the source and drain capacitances, will themselves become very large. This you have experimented and seen in your assignment also. Have you not?
Yes, sir.
So we have to watch out for self-loading. So we really cannot increase the transistor sizes also to a very large size. What about VDD? If I increase the VDD, what happens? Delays increase or decrease?
So it should decrease.
Why? Because now I need to transfer more charge, na? Why should delays decrease?
So like it will increase, like we calculate the TPHL and everything. So it was dependent directly on the VDD value.
Yeah, so TPHL should increase. Why did someone say decrease? So actually the delays would decrease. Do you know why?
So the current can be higher.
The current will be higher. See, we have VDD in the numerator, but we also have current in the denominator. And in saturation region, the current is proportional to square of VDD. VDD minus something, let us say. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The current is in saturation region is proportional to VGS minus VT the whole square. VT is constant. VGS is VDD. If you increase this, the current will also increase in a squared manner. So in reality, as you increase the supply voltage, the delays reduce. Okay, and that is because of this. Okay. So you have to transmit more charge, but you also have much more current. Therefore, your delays reduce. Okay. Device sizing, we've already seen that self-loading, after some time, self-loading starts to become and you will see that this kind of stabilizes, or in fact, it can also increase after some time. This is about the PN ratio, and you will see that for a particular PN ratio, as your TPLH and TPHL will change like this, okay, the effective propagation delay would reduce at a sweet point, at a sweet spot. This again you have experimented and that you've seen in your assignment. Am I right? So these things are just reinforcement of what we did in our assignment long back. A refresher for the assignment.
Yes, sir.
Sir?
Yes, Swapnil?
Hello. So by PN ratio, you mean the beta ratio?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, I have a very general doubt.
Yes, sir.
Sir, during early 1970s and 80s, we used DC supply approximately 5 volts, but today we are using around 1 to 2 volts. Sir, is there any reason behind it? Maybe more power dissipation if we were using in 5 volts, and now power dissipation has decreased because of this factor.
Yeah, so what happens is, so this is a part of scaling. So as you scale devices to smaller lengths, for example, अगर आप gate dielectric की ही बात करो, the gate dielectric also needs to become thinner so that you continue to have good control over the gate. Am I right? That was where we even talked about high K dielectrics and everything, why we needed high K dielectrics and all that, we discussed that.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So as you make the gate oxide thinner, for example, what happens? This thin dielectric will not be able to bear 5 volts of voltage across it. So for the stability of this dielectric, you need to lower the supply voltage. Additionally, if you can maintain the same levels of supplies, then your saturation VSAT will set in. In the short channel devices, if you have same level of supplies, then the electric fields will be so high that your velocities will be saturated and बहुत सारे और इस तरह की चीजें will start to figure in. So you do not really gain in terms of drive strength, current or anything when you have very high supplies there. You instead simply end up wasting more power because all capacitances have to toggle between a larger supply and zero. So to reduce power consumption, to maintain electric fields to a manageable level, to ensure the integrity of your dielectrics, you want to reduce power supply level to as low as possible. In fact, the ideal scenario would be that you, with every technology node, you reduce the power to 0.7 of its earlier value, so that सारे electric fields remain same. You never enter into the short channel effects wala regime. But that is not possible because you cannot really scale your VT like that. Your VT is decided more or less by the pinning of the gate, which was polysilicon, and silicon dioxide, which was my gate dielectric. So with that pinning, my VT was almost fixed at around 0.6, 0.7. You could do some gate engineering, some substrate engineering to modulate the VT. That was also what we discussed about, low voltage drain, lightly doped drains and super halo implants and halo implants. We mentioned all those terms there. So you do that gate engineering and substrate engineering to modulate BT also, but you really cannot do much with it. And therefore, you want to reduce the supply voltage with every scaling technology node. When you are not able to scale the supply voltage, there are lots of short channel effects that come into picture. There are lots of reliability failures that you need to take care of and worry about, and lots of things, such complexity that you add to your circuits also.
Yes sir,
Does
but
that
at
help?
some point जो lower value है वो भी सर saturate हो जाएगी ना फिर, मतलब हम
Yeah, we
इससे
are not
ज़्यादा
able to. So we are not able to lower the supply voltages for the past 4-5 technology nodes at all. That is where we are going to FinFETs. That is where we are looking at other device technologies, device types, topologies, so that we can somehow manage.
Okay sir, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So this we've already discussed, that the response usually is like the first order RC, and you find out effective R by looking at the current equation, and the capacitance at the output node. So that is how you estimate the delays. This is a good first order estimation, but not really good enough to predict delays in today's technologies. Therefore, you use simulators to work on it. But this will still give you rule of thumb answers. Okay, this is approximately the delay. Now my actual delay may be slightly more or less. Okay. Today, what we will start to move towards now is what we call as delay estimation through equivalent circuits. Okay, equivalent sizing or something like that. So if you look at an inverter, it has an NMOS and a PMOS. Okay. If I size my NMOS and PMOS in the ratio of K okay, let us say that there is a minimum size device, and I have a NMOS which is K times the minimum size device. So what is the input capacitance? K into the capacitance of a unit device. What is the resistance of that NMOS? Because the device is larger, it will sink more current. It can sink more current for the same VDS. It means it has lower resistance. So R by K. Are you with me?
Yes.
Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we come to the PMOS. We say that PMOS has half the mobility than the NMOS. Let us say that. Okay. In most advanced technologies, that is, let us say 14 FinFET or something like that, you will see the mobility for the PMOS and NMOS having managed to be almost similar by putting stressors and everything. But let us say abhi ke liye that PMOS has half the mobility than the NMOS. Can we do that? Because in our institute we have 65 nanometer technology. So can we say we use 65 nanometer ka paradigm and say that okay, PMOS is half as slow as the NMOS? Can we do that?
Yes, sir.
So if we do that, then the resistance of the PMOS is double that of an NMOS. Other things remain same. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So now what we will do is, we will not put this K everywhere. Okay. We will simply put the size of my inverters as 2 by 1. Now that doesn't mean 2 microns by 1 micron. It simply means they are proportionally, एक का size 1 है तो दूसरे का size 2 है. Because with every technology this will change. So what we want to arrive at is, we want to arrive at a method to estimate delays. We want to arrive at a method to estimate delays independent of technology, so that we can figure out which circuit topology is better than the other. See, as a designer, you should always look at what is the contribution of your design versus the contribution of the technology in which you are designing. Therefore, if we want to estimate the native effectiveness of my design, I want to be impervious to currents, exact values of currents and exact values of minimum widths. I simply say, and I simply talk in terms of proportions. Okay. So if I make this kind of a model, so do you realize that the first inverter is modeled like this, and the output of the first inverter observes Y as the load capacitances, these as load capacitances there? Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Now, पिछली वाली slide में what had we done? We had said that resistance of the PMOS is twice of the NMOS. Just to keep NMOS and the rise and fall delays to be same, we size the PMOS to be double the size of the NMOS. So now the resistances of both the NMOS and PMOS are same, but the capacitances are changed. Okay. Now, if I make an equivalent model of this, what am I talking about? This capacitance has no role to play. This capacitance has no role to play. I only have this capacitance, and these two capacitances that will play a role. Am I right?
Yes.
What is this capacitance? This capacitance is a capacitance of one node to itself. It has no significance. Similarly here. But these four capacitances are something that my inverter has to toggle. Okay. So what is my effective delay for this particular inverter? So if I use this kind of an RC model and find the delay, I will arrive at something like this dashed line. Okay. The actual spice would behave something like this, the black line. Okay. So at VDD by 2, you will notice that the most accurate Shockley or physics basis पे जो Shockley equation से आप निकालोगे, या आप जो spice से निकालोगे, या जो आप RC model से निकालोगे, they are almost similar. So अभी तक जो हम काम कर रहे हैं for this RC model that we are making, that should be reasonably effective in giving me a good estimate of the delay if I put in the real parameters of the technology. Okay. So now if we consider a 3-input NAND gate, do you think that this sizing of the 3-input NAND gate is correct? Why would I want to size it like this?
Sir, the length is going to be 3 times for the NMOSs. So I think that's why we are scaling the width.
No, I am talking about minimum length devices only for now.
Sir, we want the the discharging case or in the charging case, we want it same as that of our reference case.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So for that, if we scale it like 333, then our effective resistance will be R by 3, R by 3, R by 3 in a series. So the effect in the discharging time, it will see only R. So that will be the same case of.
So what we have done is we've simply said that if this is R, so in fact there are these three resistances which will come in series with each other. When I want to discharge the output load, these three capacitances will come in series with each other. If I want effective resistance over here to be R, then each of these has to be R by 3. If each has to be R by 3, then my width has to be 3 times. On the PMOS side, there are 3 resistances in parallel, of which any one will operate at any given point of time. So I would anyways want to keep it only R. For the PMOS, to keep the resistance to be R, I have to keep the size to be 2, the same as that of an inverter. So when I want to size a NAND gate, 3-input NAND gate, I would size the NMOSs 3 times. The inverter sizing and PMOS sizing would remain the same. What would happen in the case of a NOR gate? What would be the size of the PMOSes there? 3 input NOR gate?
Six.
उसमें उल्टा रहेगा सर, PMOS की साइजेस बड़ी होगी मतलब.
So what will be the size of the PMOS?
6 then it will be.
It will be 6. What will be the size of the NMOS?
NMOS will be 1, like because anyways they are in parallel, so it won't matter. We are taking RA.
Yes.
We have to take RA. Yeah.
I know. So it depends on whether we are talking about an NMOS and a PMOS. By using this simple KR wala model, the simple RC model, we can arrive at a very simplistic way to size gates. Are you with me? So you can now size your gates appropriately.
Sir, in this NAND gate example, if the size of your PMOS is 1 and the NMOS is 3, that I agree that you want overall resistance to be R. But if the PMOS resistance is 1, then what you could conclude about R, overall R?
So it means that when the output has to rise, my rise time would be double that of the fall time, because the equivalent resistance of the PMOS is double that of the NMOS. On the fall side, you had 3 resistances of R by 3. Effective resistance on the fall side is R. Now you say instead of 2, you want to keep it 1. So the effective resistance of the PMOS is 2R. So the rise delays will be 2R into CL and fall delays will be R into CL. So rise delays will be double the fall delays.
Okay, sir.
Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
So now this is about the resistances. So अभी मैंने जो CL को मैंने constant assume कर लिया था, but in fact CL would also change, and this is how my capacitances would look like. So each of these devices, I have a 2C from the gate, a 2C at the source, and 2C at the drain, because the PMOS is sized twice. And similarly for the NMOSes, 3C at the source, 3C at the drain, and 3C at the gate. So we use exactly the same model for the capacitances also. Are you with me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So effectively, what I've done, this capacitance has no significance, this capacitance has no significance. So there is this capacitance, there is this capacitance, and there is some capacitance from here. Oh, sorry, this is not the input capacitance. So there is this capacitance and there is this capacitance at the input. So my inputs effectively have a 5C capacitance. Okay.
Sorry,
and my out.
Yeah.
So my input, let us say this input. What all capacitances does it see? 3C over here and 2C over here. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
5C capacitance at the input. What is the capacitance that my output is seeing? 3C plus 2C plus 2C plus 2C, 9C. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
The capacitance on this node is 3C. The capacitance on this node is also 3C. This has no significance. Are you with me?
Yes.
So this is what my model would look like. Capacitance model. Any questions still here?
Sir, what about the capacitance of the PMOS that were on the upper side in the previous slide? Rest two I understood.
So if there is a capacitance here or a capacitance here, we already know that capacitance between the node and itself is 0. So this is also VDD, this is also VDD. Can there be a capacitance between VDD and VDD?
Yeah, no capacitance can occur. Okay, sir. Sure.
Okay. So everything clear till here?
So, hello.
Yes.
So when we say D, so D here would be 9 RC or 5 RC?
आर की बात नहीं कर रहे अभी हम, डिले अभी नहीं आया, अभी मैं खाली कैपेसिटेंस का पूछ रहा हूँ. इस कैपेसिटेंस क्लियर? Because resistance we will just talk about, delays we will just talk about. Is this part, how to calculate R and how to calculate C, is that part clear to everyone? Because once this part is clear, then it is simple. Okay, so let's move forward then. So now we look at a ladder, a RC ladder. Now we look at the RC ladder and we say that my total delay, okay, my total delay of this RC ladder is given by this. This is my current source, or this is my voltage source, whatever. This is my supply, you may say. And when a change in this thing happens, it will propagate like this. This is the Elmore delay model of the RC ladder. Okay. So इसको हम अगर अलग तरीके से बनाना चाहें तो हम ये भी कह सकते हैं that the delays are R1 plus R1 into sigma of all Ci after it. Because R1 C1, R2 C2, R1 Cn, जितने भी Ci उसके बाद आ रहे थे, R1 sees that entire load. R2 sees C2 onwards, R3 sees C3 onwards. ठीक है? At any point of time, there are two ways to look at that. I could say R1 into C1 and R1 plus R2 into C2 and R1 plus R2 into C3, or I can say R1 into sigma of Ci, then R2 into sigma of Ci minus C1, and then R3 is equal to sigma of Ci minus C1 minus C2 and so on. Okay, but this is the delay of my RC ladder. Okay, now considering this to be my model for estimating delay of combinational logic, if we go to the same example of 3-input NAND gate, I assume that I have put H copies of the NAND gate at the output of my NAND gate also. So NAND gate का input capacitance हमने क्या निकाला था? 5C, है ना? तो मैंने यहाँ पे 5H into C as an output load लगा दिया. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
अपन ने इनपुट निकाला था 5C and now you are saying that we are providing the load as 5HC.
Yeah, because I have put H.
Because you have put H copies of NAND gate.
Yes. Yes, I have put H such NAND gates at the output. Okay. Now I want to find the delay of this NAND gate. So I will go to the RC model of this. Can I go to the RC model of this now?
So.
Yes.
So, but within the 5C, जो हमारा 5C delay आया था input पे, that was for one input side, right? We had 3 inputs NAND gate. So.
Yeah. So I'm only sending this thing to one input, na? The other 2 inputs are left floating. Okay. So आगे बढ़े? Should we move forward?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I make the RC model of this, then what am I saying? That there is this PMOS which has an R resistance. And then there is R by 3 here, R by 3 here. So I'm still, as of now, looking at charging, you know. So the NMOS, the lowest NMOS I have turned off. This is my RC model then. So what am I saying? That my rising delay is 9 plus 5H RC because the rising delay sees this path. Are you with me?
So how
Yes,
do you
sir.
arrive at the model on the left? जो नीचे बना हुआ है.
So we just said that there is this PMOS, I replace that with R. This NMOS, I replace that with R by 3.
Okay.
PMOS, NMOS. Yeah. So we just done that. Okay.
And we are neglecting the last of the NMOSes.
Because I am saying that last NMOS is off.
Okay, you have assumed that. Okay.
I have assumed last NMOS is off because I am trying to find the rising delay.
Sir, we are only taking one PMOS as on every time.
Yeah, because only one NMOS is off. Only one NMOS is off and therefore only one PMOS is on. That is the worst case for the rising delay.
Okay, sir. Yes.
So this is what it is. Are you with me till here? That the rising delay will be 9 plus 5H into RC?
Yes, sir.
Now, for the falling delay, my PMOSes are all off, but NMOSes are all on. So this will be my RC network, equivalent RC network. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So by applying that earlier Elmore delay model, I arrive at a falling delay of this. Okay. So 3cc is R by 3. This 3cc is 2R by 3. This 9 plus 5HC is R. That is the model over here. You're with me?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, basically, we assume that any of the NMOS will be off so that no current will flow through ground, right?
See, you have to have one PMOS on. One PMOS on means one NMOS will be off.
Yes, sir. But with respect to NMOS, third NMOS, we have capacitor, right, which is attached to ground.
Can you please repeat? What did you just say?
Like we have here R by 3 and then R by 3, and the respective next NMOS is in off.
Yes, it's off.
But we have 3C capacitance which is attached to ground, right? It has connection to ground.
Yeah, this is this capacitance.
Yeah. So what I have a doubt is, will the current flow through that branch or not, sir?
You tell me.
From VDD. I think it will flow. Why? Because we have connection to ground, right?
Does the capacitance allow current to flow through it?
Like up to charging, it will allow, right?
So charging is one thing, but will the current flow to ground?
No, sir.
The current will flow to N1. That I am not challenging, but will current flow to ground?
No, sir.
Yeah. So you have your answer.
So?
Yes.
So similarly, like we did the Elmore model for the fall delay. ऐसे अगर मैं rise delay, why didn't we consider the capacitance का जो दिख रहा है उसको effective delay node N2? So like that would be 3C.
Because my output will toggle with this na Elmore model. If I need to see the delay from Y.
Okay. अच्छा, okay. Yes. It's coming from the discharging of the
Yeah, I have to look at the discharge path, no? I have to look at the distance to the supply.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Is it fine? Should we move forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So similarly, for contamination delay, we can find out if all the three inputs fall simultaneously, then what happens? Then my effective
R becomes R by 3.
R by 3 and my delay reduces. Similarly, so we can find out the contamination delay like this. This we've already done. We started the class with this aspect only. Am I right? We talked about the shared diffusion contact and how it can lead to reduced capacitances. There is another aspect where we have uncontacted diffusion, and in uncontacted diffusion, the capacitance is still lesser because this poly to poly spacing reduces. Okay. So this we already in today's class itself we started with this aspect only. Am I right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Merged uncontacted diffusion. Could you just highlight this?
Yeah, there is no contact there. So since there is no contact there, you can bring polys much closer. So the diffusion capacitance reduces still further. Okay.
In
this NMOS stack over here, you need a contact at the output and you need a contact at the ground terminal. In between here, you do not need contacts. Am I right?
Yeah.
So since you do not need contacts, your polys don't need to maintain the spacing between contacts. The polys can actually be drawn much closer. So when the polys are drawn much closer, this length, the perimeter and the overall area of your diffusion region reduces. This was the area of the diffusion region earlier. It is much lower now. Therefore, the capacitance is still lesser. That is the only thing that this unmerged uncontacted diffusion talks about.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
और सर ये isolated contact diffusion जो है isolated जो लिखा है इधर.
Yeah, isolated means that this is not shared with any other transistor. Isolated means akela, alone. So it is not shared by anything else.
Means जो NMOS का capacitance वो अलग से अपन देख रहे हैं और PMOS का अलग से देख रहे हैं. ऐसा समझ सकता हूँ मैं?
No. This only means that if there is, so if I just had this one transistor, these two would be both isolated capacitances. Okay. So both are isolated source drain. If I merge it into this, then these two will be isolated because they are only with one transistor. This one would be shared. इसको merge नहीं करते, इसको अलग दो अलग बना देते हैं. So this would be shared, this would be isolated. Isolated means not shared with any other transistor.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I think we would stop now because some of you also have another class. We will start from, so this also we have done. I think you can look at it yourself and we'll start with me asking you this question tomorrow. Okay. So it's best if you can spend some thought on this. And tomorrow I will also want to cover this impact of process variations and then we will look at some assignment. Okay. So I will stop here.
So
yes.
So I just had a small request, like.
Yes, Swapnil.
Yeah. So like I thought that like this would I guess take some time to of revision also, जो आज हमने पढ़ा. So is there a possibility that the original schedule which we decided for the substitute class, that is Wednesday, we can have this class on Wednesday only, like instead of tomorrow? अगर आप
so then what would happen is your assignment will get delayed. Your assignment and projects will start to clutter together. See, I could have very easily used 2 substitute classes on Wednesdays to do this, but then your project, you will get lesser time for the project. You guys choose. You guys will have an overlap in your project and assignments, and then you will say, "बहुत सारा काम दे दिया सर ने." उस काम तो है ही. Are you able to see my concern? Hello.
Yes, sir. Assignment project clash नहीं होना चाहिए. आपकी बात सही है.
So that is why I decided and I suggested that we should have the class this week itself, because I know there is one more assignment to go before we go to the project. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. We'll have it tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Yeah. All the best. I'm stopping the recording.
Sure, sir. Also, sir, a request. I